Well, good morning from myself as well. I'd like to have my own personal thank you for participating in today's workshop. Special thanks to keynote speakers, Rand Gears, Undersecretary, Department of Homeland Security, National Protection and Programs Directorate, Moise Name, Senior Associate, Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, and Thomas P.M. Barnett of Barnett Consulting, as well as a recognition of the distinguished guests that we have with us for this conference. William Wexler, Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Counter-Narcotics and Global Threats, and Daniel Glazier, Deputy Assistant Secretary for U.S. Department of Treasury. The turnout alone is indicative of the growing focus on illicit networks. Workshop participants hail from Mexico to Sweden to the UK, from academia to government to strategic think tanks. Thank you for your interest in global security. In the mid-90s, Defense Intelligence provided a 20-year forecast highlighting the rapid advancement of telecommunications with electronic commerce becoming the standard of trade. This emerging age of globalization would provide tremendous opportunity for new economic powers taking the stage. On the downside, prognostications foreshadowed the losing span of control by governments. Globalization will leave many states and people vulnerable, creating unstable and ungovernable regions. And the United States and its friends would face a variety of transnational dangers that transcend borders, mainly from non-state actors, most notable terrorists, drug traffickers, proliferators, and transnational criminals. Well, the future is now. The complex security environment is probably more than most of us would have imagined back then. Terrorists, drug cartels, and criminals have taken full advantage of the openness of globalization that globalization brings. Finances and ideology move effortlessly through cyberspace. Their illicit networks increasingly intersect and overlap as they shape, shift, and adapt to stay ahead of security and the law. Often these networks flourish between the scenes of global consciousness, avoiding scrutiny and maximizing their profit. In the February issue of Wired magazine, the transnational crime industry is estimated to be an order of $2 trillion. The only way we can beat them, as Michael said, is become more adaptable and network ourselves. This requires even more than a whole government approach. In this spirit, the Global Futures Forum has taken illicit trafficking as a community of interest. Collectively, we stand a better chance at deterring and defeating the dark side of globalization. And in this spirit, we welcome you to this day's workshop, Illicit Networks in the Age of Globalization. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Warren Fishbein, U.S. Department of State and coordinator for the Global Futures Forum.
Thank you, Andy, and I'd like to welcome you all on behalf of Global Futures Forum, which in a nutshell is an effort, a 7-year-old effort to develop a transnational analytic network to better understand and address these strategic challenges that cross all types of borders due to the interconnected and complex nature of the global security environment, of which we have a lot of reminders in recent days. Let me just first tell you what GFF is about. It's an informal partnership of intelligence and security communities from over 20 countries in North America, Europe, and East Asia, although to date, analysts from some 50 countries overall have participated in GFF activities. It's led by a multinational steering group, and within the United States, it's coordinated by the Bureau of Intelligence and Research at the Department of State on behalf of the U.S. intelligence community, although participation is open to all those in government who are trying to address transnational global issues analytically. The key objectives: one is to promote analytic outreach to global expertise on transnational issues, because that's where a lot of the expertise is these days. It's also to enhance our ability to look ahead by bringing together diverse perspectives from individuals from different cultural, professional, and organizational backgrounds. And it's the mixture of these perspectives which will help us to challenge our assumptions and to widen our lenses. And finally, is to contribute to a concept that's well known and certainly at NDU and other places that are looking at defense issues: interoperability. Developing common terminologies, common understandings that will help all the groups in different countries and in different sectors that are trying to address the same challenges. GFF focuses on transatlantic and global security challenges and methodologies. It involves completely unclassified dialogue bringing together experts from government, academia, and other sectors that are focused on these issues. It works at the strategic level, not operational or tactical, and tries to improve understanding rather than to propose policy solutions. We generally work through interactive workshops such as what we're going to be doing over the next 2 days. And our outputs include, of course, reports, but also relationships and insights, the intangibles, which are what we need if we're going to build these networks, as we've heard, that are really needed to combat the illicit ones that we're trying to address. GFF generally works through communities of interest that bring together experts from these various sectors. Some of them are focused on traditional transnational issues such as radicalization and illicit trafficking, as we're doing today, but also some newer issues such as emerging and disruptive technologies, and a very new effort that we're starting on human and natural resource security. And we also look at methodologies and ways of improving the organizational aspects of what we try to do in the intelligence world. We hold every 2 years a general meeting, which are organized around common themes and bring together the communities of interest, most recently in Singapore in September of 2010, where we focused on the themes of foresight and how it contributes to societal resilience. And finally, we have a password protective website with 1,700 account holders at present. We post GFF reports, and we also have selected readings on this website, over 1,000 of them, and we've also used it for structured dialogues among experts so that we can bring GFF discussions to a wider audience. This has just been a very brief overview of GFF. I'm going to be here today, and I'd be happy in the breaks to talk to you more about it. Or please write to me at my email address at fishbindwh@state.gov, and I'll be happy to talk more about GFF to you. Thank you.
I'm going to introduce our first keynote speaker who will be speaking to us. Linkages between global driving forces and illicit networks. Thomas Barnett is a strategic planner who has worked in national security affairs since the end of the Cold War. In 2010, Tom became chief analyst for Israel's startup company, Wikistrat, and since 2005, he has served as a senior managing director of Entera Solutions LLC, a supply chain management firm. He has also operated his own consulting firm, Barnett Consulting, since 1998. Professor Barnett has a BA in honors from the University of Wisconsin with a double major in Russian language and literature and international relations, emphasizing U.S. foreign policy. At Wisconsin, he was elected Phi Beta Kappa his junior year. Following Wisconsin, Dr. Barnett earned an AM in regional studies focused on Russia, Eastern Europe, and Central Asia, and his PhD in political science, major international relations, minoring comparative politics. U.S. News and World Report, Michael Barnes has quoted him as being one of the most important strategic thinkers of our time. And the Washington Post highlighted him as a combination of Thomas Friedman on globalization and Clausewitz on war. So please welcome Dr. Barnett.